fantasy.
Championship weekend for fantasy?
Yeah, this weekend.
I don't even know that championship weekend exists in my life anymore.
What's the best you're doing in a league right now?
Not in it. Not in any leagues right now.
Julio let me down, so I'm
I
playing.
didn't get
for
last
third
place, so I don't have to beat beer pitch. That's the one good thing.
Yeah, that's clutch. So.
Yeah.
You drinking tonight? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking. You like this? It's the Kentucky Vanilla Barrel Cream Ale. It's a little too creamy for me, but I know you like it creamy.
You know he love it creamy.
You love it creamy.
All right, let's get loaded. If it's alright, I wanna kick it with you all night. Welcome to the Loaded Box Podcast,
where we never finish first because we finished last. I really like the way you fade out there. That was good. You're getting real good at that.
Yeah, and that's only the second time I've been able to do it that way too.
I know. It's like you're talking and we're fading. It's like usually it's like song cut off. Welcome. No, you're fading it. I love the way it fades. I will want to fade it longer so it's going while I talk. Like I want it to fade while I talk. So I feel like I have some walk-up music too.
It's only taken me 102 episodes to somewhat get this, so I think I was due.
Man, and pretty soon we're gonna have people are gonna be like, "Whoa, is this a brand new podcast I'm listening to?"
Right.
Yeah.
Well, as you heard us talking about in the intro, this is the Week 16 preview podcast, also known as the Fantasy Football Championship preview podcast. If you're not a weirdo and in a league that doesn't end on Week 16, what are your thoughts on those kind of leagues?
Go fuck yourself.
Right. Simple as that.
I mean, the buys and the people not playing once they have playoff positions like this. You can't have playoffs. You can't have playoffs and then Week 17. It's just ridiculous.
I agree. If you have any sort of like head-to-head playing, if it was total points, I'm okay with going through Week 17. But if you are doing any sort of head-to-head matchup where you legit need to like play against another person, yeah, you got to quit on Week 16. That's that.
For sure.
All right. Well, hey, is this 2 weeks in a row that you've finished above 500 and you're against the spread? Pick six picks.
Watch out.
2-1 last week. I went 0-1-1. So you're slowly you're creeping back up. You've almost caught me on the year to date that we refuse to release our records right now because one, if you wanted to know them bad enough, you could listen and pay attention on your own, and two, I don't want to talk about them.
You know what? I just had to mute this and tell my kid to take the blanket off his head through my freaking baby monitor because I thought he was going to suffocate and die, and that was pretty funny. And it worked, so that worked out pretty well.
Wow, yeah. That's incredible.
Let's not give our records.
Fair enough. Well, do you want to lead off this pick six segment of Week 16 in the NFL?
Sure, Bert. All right. The first one I'm going with is solely for one reason. I'm going with Cincinnati plus 5.5 at home versus the Detroit Lions. And the only reason I'm taking this, if you're going to see some of my tweets last night, is because 90% of bets are on the Detroit Lions side. And when I see that, I'm going to go the other way. That's the biggest. And it makes sense that all the bets will be on that side, which makes me think, come on, Cincinnati's definitely going to somehow stay in this game. And I also said, to reiterate my tweets from last night, I said, I'm not going to bet against a bunch of thugs at the end of the year. I just, you always bet on the side of the gangsters. Tupac, I'm going to bet on a bunch of thugs all the time. Thug life, let's go.
So I can't get behind this at all because I think
That's
Cincinnati has just legit mailed it in. They are done. I'm going to touch on this later with our daily fantasy talk. I've got some lines that I want to talk about.
Uh-huh.
But, dude, I cannot get behind it. The Bengals are done. Coach is done. Quarterback should be done. They're just done.
This is why I've gone 2-1 the last 2 weeks, and you just haven't.
That's right. Maybe I should start listening here on a bit of a heater. All right, what's number two?
I got Buffalo plus 11 at New England. Hated doing this. Hated it. But I feel like Buffalo's starting to get their mojo back. I know they're going into New England. New England just came off a big game against Pittsburgh, hoping they're a little worn down, like my North Carolina Tar Heels had their big win last night.
Wofford in the house.
Yeah. But I think that I'm hoping they can get that running game going. New England's defense is still weak as fuck. Keep this a low-scoring game. The Dolphins, I think they can do similar to what the Dolphins can do and keep Brady, just start smoking him. If they can hit him, get there, make him run around, get scared. I think that if they keep this within 11, maybe it's a sucker bet, but I think it's going to be close.
Yeah, I think this number is too big. It's not one of the games that I'm electing to put into my 3 games, but yeah, if I'm picking a side, I'm taking Buffalo here. Buffalo's still, they're a wild card team right now, so they've got a lot to play for. You're getting double digits.
Exactly.
New England's good. They're coming off of a really tight, emotional game against Pittsburgh. They just before that they lost to the Dolphins. I don't know that they can really blow out the Bills. The Bills aren't a terrible team.
And plus, Brady, he's getting a little older. The weather's getting a little colder. Those joints start aching a little bit more. Maybe the throws become a little bit more, a little harder for him to make. He's got to compensate for his achy little bones. Who knows? Who knows?
And did you hear about his personal doctor?
I did not.
So he has a personal doctor that, like Rob Gronkowski has it, some other guys on the team have this guy. He's got a little bit of a questionable background. And Belichick basically said, "This guy's got to go." I think he's got. I think he's kind of like sniffing something out here that something might be illegal. So, yeah, that's kind of funny. But the one consistent that New England's kind of always had, minus 1 year without Brady, has been health. So maybe this doctor's up to a little something. So we'll have to see how those shady Patriots.
Yeah. I've heard there's been some tension between Belichick and Brady over this as well.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I'd love to see this fall apart, but geez, they've been doing
It'd be awesome.
They've been doing it for 20 years. I don't even know if it matters anymore.
Yeah.
All right, what's your third against the spread pick?
I've got Jacksonville -4 at San Francisco. Everybody's hyping up San Francisco. They got Garoppolo. All of a sudden, they're the greatest team in football for some reason. Because Garoppolo comes out and beats like 2 shitty-ass football teams. So they make the spread -4. I get that they have gotten this team all excited, but the Jaguars' defense doesn't give a fuck about Jimmy Garoppolo, okay? They just ruin whoever they want. That's what they do. That's what they're going to do. If they play against Tom Brady, they're going to make it difficult. I can't imagine what they're going to do to fucking Jimmy Garoppolo. That, in Bortles and Fournette, I think if Fournette plays, which I assume he will be because I think it was a questionable decision this last week, they should have a field day. I think they both should have a field day. Keep that running game going. The way Bortles is playing, he's picking people apart. He's got wide receivers coming out of fucking the woodworks. Who knows where they're coming from? I don't understand where all these wide receivers are coming from. Mickens, who's this Mickey Mouse fucker, and Keelan Cole, who could have been the steal of a free agent pickup as of last 6 I expect a Jacksonville blowout in this game. I really think they beat the shit out of the Niners.
I don't know if I can go as far to say that it's a blowout. I will say, though, that if we had to pick 4 games, this would have been the one that made my list. This just missed the cut. So I'm on the same page as you. I almost added it to mine. My first one. So last week you gave me a little bit of grief for my stats. And recently my stats have failed me. So I'm pulling a U. I'm not embracing the suck quite yet, but I am going to do some gut picks. So gut pick number 1. And I also told you to punch me in the face if I ever take the Cleveland Browns to win a game. You might have to punch me somewhere other than the face because I'm taking the Cleveland Browns +6.5 at the Chicago Bears. I still, for some dumb reason, I don't know exactly why, I think Cleveland's going to get a win this year. We've got 2 weeks left. Steelers are next. If they're going to get that win, absolutely has to be this week. And if they don't get an outright win, I like this matchup against the Bears. Bears aren't that type of team that are going to bury anyone. I think Cleveland can stay in this throughout. I think they should stay within a touchdown. So if you're going to give me 6.5 points, it's a gut. It's a total gut feeling. Give me the Browns +6.5 at Chicago.
I actually really do like that pick. And I talk about analysis in this game, kind of built off of what you were just saying later. So I'm going to save it. But I like your pick.
All right. My next gut shot here. Atlanta Falcons +6. It's the day of the dogs. That's what this one's going to be called for me, the day of the dogs. +6 at the Saints. The last matchup just a couple of weeks ago between these two, Atlanta won 20-17. I see this being another close game. I'm taking the points, especially if it's like near a touchdown. That's a lot of points to get between these two. Record-wise, you've got the Saints 10-4, Falcons 9-5. Both are still fighting with the Panthers for the division and even a wild card berth. We talked last week about maybe 3 teams from the South making it to the playoffs. So this is really becoming a must-win for both teams. Once again, don't really see a large margin either way in this game. So take the points, take the Falcons, take someone's money.
The way Atlanta's defense is playing right now, which is like shit, this scares me. This one scares me. I just don't like how Atlanta is defensively played and how they're not. I mean, Vic Beasley has been awful this year. He's not getting anywhere. That kind of changes his position. That could affect that, but I can't agree with that one.
Yeah,
and on my side to be the Saints.
And it's funny because, like you said, Beasley had that crazy year. He went off, and then I think he's been battling some injuries. I don't remember if it was that game against the Packers that he got hurt real early. I don't think that he's really ever fully come back from that. And some other guys have picked it up on the sacks. Claiborne had, I think it was 107 sacks that one week against the Cowboys. But other than that, some other people have picked it up. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I still think Beasley's a good playmaker. I don't know if it's going to come down to defensive line play in this game. I just think it could even be a shootout, but I don't see either team winning it by more than a touchdown. Well, if you didn't like that one, you're going to hate this one.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Because I have the Seattle Seahawks +5 at the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, hate it.
Like I said, though, taking dogs. I know Zeke's back. I feel these teams are fairly equal when it comes to talent level. As long as this is more than 3, if I'm getting more than 3 points, I'm taking the dog here. Last 2 weeks, man, Seattle has been trash. They played the Jaguars, got beat up, got really beat up by the Rams last week. And we're talking about Dallas, who's won 3 straight. In Seattle, mind you.
Yeah.
Cowboys, 3 straight wins. What I'm going to say here is my gut feeling. The confusion of the NFL prevails. Wouldn't be surprised if Seattle wins this outright. No. Give me all dogs this week. I'm going to go 3-0, and so are you when you follow these picks.
I feel like they set this up so that everybody in the world, this is another high percentage Seattle pick. Everybody sees Seattle +5, which seems like too many points, and they're still on that mindset where they're like, Seattle's a good team. Oh, not really. Their defense sucks and their offensive line sucks, and Russell Wilson can't do anything until they're down 35 points in the fourth quarter, and then he has a good fantasy football day because he runs around like an idiot and throws 3 touchdowns at the end. But this is a game where I was considering this one. I was going to pick Dallas in this one, -5. I think I saw 5.5. I don't remember. But either way, I mean, I'd take 5 points, obviously. If I saw them at 5.5, I was going to take them. I feel like Dallas runs away with this game. They got Zeke back. You said it. It's a big momentum game. It's like Dak's going to get his groove back, man.
All right, your analysis is spot on. I can't fight any of that. I can't argue any of that. What you were missing is the NFL being a messed up product, and surprises happen every week, and that's what I'm going on because my thought out picks not really working. I'm close to embracing the suck. I'm so close. I'm so close.
The surprise is that Zeke is back.
That's true. Yeah. I'm going to talk about Zeke a little bit more later. So let's move on from against the spread picks. Let's talk about the imaginary playoff bucket challenge. If you're new to the podcast, if we think a team has no chance of making the playoffs throughout the year, we add them to the bucket of teams that are not in position to make the playoffs, or we don't think will make the playoffs. So, DJ, you've got a trio of teams you're going to add this week after week 15, separation week, I think you should call it.
I'm gonna. Are you asking me to go right now?
Yeah, that's what I was doing there.
I didn't hear it, so I'm gonna add the Seahawks. I looked at the schedule. I don't think they win their next game. I think that knocks them out. I think, obviously, we just talked about it 1 second ago. I obviously think Dallas wins that game against the Seahawks. Obviously, I'm putting the Raiders out of there. I think I just hung on to them for so long because the AFC West was so close that I didn't want to. that get rid of them. Plus, I really like Derek Carr, so I was kind of playing that man crush a little bit. And then I refuse to add the Packers. I don't want to, like, I feel like that somehow they're going to, like, whoever the sixth playoff team is going to, like, crash in air. Like, the two wildcard teams, airplane's going to crash, and somehow they're going to be in the next two wildcard teams, so they're going to get to play in that playoff. Something's going to happen that still miraculously puts them in. And you know what? Rodgers on IR, but Brett Hundley can go out there and still win a game or two and lose the NFC Championship.
I know. I was going to say, with your Packers fandom, I mean, it killed me to put the Dolphins in, but with your Packers fandom, where they continually make the playoffs every single freaking year, no matter what the circumstances seem to be, yeah, you should hang on to them. Just even though they're mathematically eliminated, hang on. Just hope for an act of God. You need to hope for an act of God.
Yeah, I really hope the act of God. I exited the Packers.
So I didn't add anyone this week. I want to add both Detroit.
Why?
Well, I want to add Detroit. I want to add Seattle, but both kind of have easy schedules remaining. So I want to wait until after this week to make like my bold predictions. These are the 12 teams that are making the playoffs. I need another week. Because if Seattle beats Dallas this week, they've got a decent chance yet. They still have a chance. So I need to hold on.
I know. I was taking a risk. I'm taking a risk putting Seattle out because I think that Dallas. I think they lose one of the next two games. I can't remember who they played in the last game, but I don't care. I don't think they're good enough to win both these games.
I just looked at it too, and it was an easier team. Dallas is.
It is an easier team. Is it the Cardinals?
Yeah, I think it was the Cardinals. Yep.
Yeah, and I still don't think they're good enough.
They might not be good enough to beat the Cardinals.
They're not that good, man. They stink.
So the scoring update, you've got me by 2 points. So it's going to come down to the wire here, but you're going to separate yourself a little bit by adding these other teams and taking that risk. I just wasn't willing to do it yet. So it'll be a tough one. It'll come down to the wire. But let's talk some daily fantasy.
If I had a chance to be with you.
Oh, I was like, what are you singing? Kanye.
Well, Kanye West.
you gotta talk like you got a mouth guard in, though. Then you would
Yeah,
have had
no, well, I think I do already, so.
Yeah, that's what you have going on right now.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk some daily fantasy, some stacks, some bargains, some spot plays. You want to lead off with your bargains.
Podcast the rest of the night. I don't want to stop this today. This is like the only good thing that's happened to me today.
Jeez.
You want me to go?
Bargain stack of the week. Let's hear what you got.
Bargain stack. The old sleeper stack is what it's called. Talk about sleeping. Talk about crabs. Talk about fucking right in the pussy. I'm taking Jameis Winston, $7,100 at Carolina, and stack that motherfucker with Mike Evans, $7,000 at Carolina. Aaron Rodgers had 3 interceptions, bad underthrows, but he still had a pretty good game against this Carolina defense. Tampa Bay's weakness is running the ball.
Running
Carolina's
balls.
strength, running balls. Carolina's strength is playing against the run. Jameis Winston's got his groove back. I think he's finally it's okay. This is one game, but his decision making was 10 times better against Atlanta on Monday night. He looked good. I got that game right. I thought they would have a chance to win. They did. But I expect Jameis Winston to kind of stay in control. He looked great in the pocket. He had great feel. He was moving around, making smart plays. He wasn't throwing balls up for no fucking reason. And you know he's going to throw the ball to Mike Evans when he's out there. That's why I'm stacking it with Mike Evans, who's still going to be, I think, next year. I think he's going to still end up being a top 5 fantasy receiver if Jameis is healthy the whole year and all that type of shit. I don't again, another fluke type of year. I think that this was for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I really, really like Tampa Bay having a good game here, and I think Jameis and Mike Evans go off because secondary is the biggest weakness for Carolina, and they're gonna exploit that.
So like we talked about, I'm not ready to sell quite yet on Jameis Winston. He's had his fair share of ups and downs.
I sold on Marcus Mariota, though.
I say we both kind of sold on Mariota. Winston has had injuries. They've had a weird schedule with the hurricane. They've had just crazy ups and downs all year. No running game. Doug Martin starts the year suspended. No reliable running back. Deshaun Jackson hasn't quite been what they wanted him to be. So I'm going to give them a little bit of a pass this year. It's only one season. I'm not going to overreact. But last week, when you stacked Marcus Mariota and Corey Davis, I said one thing. I said that you might have more fun just watching your money burn. And I have a feeling that you might just have more funny more fun just watching your money burn this week than using the stack of Evans and Winston. So it can be your bargain stack. I get it. They're both good plays, but it's not for me. Not going to be for me.
This one I'm way more. Last week I was hesitant, right? Like I didn't want to do it, but I was taking a shot here thinking like, hey, if they're going to do it, this is going to be it. This one I actually believe. Like I actually feel really good about that one. This one is confidence. Like I got to see them. We all watched the Buccaneers on Monday night. The first fucking listen to me, you're a football fan, so I would think that you watched the game on Monday. Jameis was good. He won one of our listeners a fantasy football semifinal game, and a game that he didn't think he was going to come back. So congratulations to that guy. What was his name? That Australian guy. Give him a shout out.
Regardless.
Bucket. Kevin, right? I think that's what it is.
Props to Kevin.
Yeah.
Stay woke.
So shout out to him and Jameis Winston and OJ Howard broken ankle out for the rest of the season. But yeah, I like the way he looked. You'll like the way she looks.
All right, so you can like your stack. That's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
My stack of the week is coincidentally the other side of that game. I'm taking Cam Newton, $8,300, and I'm bypassing a wide receiver here. I'm taking Greg Olsen, $6,600. We just saw the Bucs contain Julio and Ryan. I'm just going to chalk that one up to incompetence. Just the idea that Julio went for 253 yards and 2 touchdowns the first time they play the Bucs, and then he goes for what, like 50-some yards? Why didn't they give Mohamed Sanu a chance at throwing him the ball? I still don't understand that. Got to try to back that up.
Shit, right? Every game.
Right. At the end of the day, though, the Bucs, they are who they are. They're still 29th against the pass. Newton's coming off that game you just talked about against the Packers. 4 touchdowns, 31 fantasy points against that Packers defense. Then
the Packers defense.
Well, yeah, but the Buccaneers' pass defense is probably just as bad.
Yeah.
And I'm bypassing the receiver, as I said. I'm going straight to their tight end. Greg Olsen, 5th most expensive tight end this week. I'm talking about Sunday through Monday games as well, just to clarify that. He seems back from that injury that he had. 9 catches, 116 yards, and a touchdown last week. We all know Cams loves those tight ends.
Loves those tight ends.
Always has, ever since he's been in the league, man.
Love that tight ends.
I got more faith in Olsen than I do Funches. I think the Panthers keep it rolling versus Tampa. I think when Cam scores, he scores in bunches, and he's always a threat on the ground as well.
Let's do a poll. Does Cam love computers or tight ends more?
I will put that as soon as you can put it on now if you have an opportunity to.
No, I have to use my thing. You know what I think is really funny, and this has nothing to do with what you picked there, but I think it's hilarious that I'm such a, as I watched the Packers versus the Panthers, I was such in a hypocritical mode, because I love Cam Newton. I love his cockiness. I love when he dances on guys. But as I watched that game, I was cursing him. I hated him more than anybody in the entire world. I hated him.
Oh, there's nothing worse than a guy going off against your team and smiling while he's doing it.
And kind of, and they bumped him. They part near fucking blew that game right there.
They did, yeah.
They part near blew it, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to see that stupid fucking smirk wiped off your face. But then irrationally after the game, when I was so angry at him, I wanted to stab him in the throat. I was thinking, this one people must think that Aaron Rodgers is picking you apart and giving that arrogant, shitty grin, where he's just smiling at guys the shitty grin that I kind of have. That's how people must feel. But if it was Cam against anybody else, I would love it. So it was really weird how irrational I got, not realizing how much I love him just because it was against my team.
That's good self-awareness. I'm proud of you there. You usually lack that. Mm-hmm. Well, since you don't typically pick a quarterback outside of your stack, I wanted to pose a question to you here, because it's a guy that you love in Jared Goff. He's $7,700 at the Titans. Or Matthew Stafford, who's $200 more, $7,900 versus the Bengals. What do you have here?
Well, Stafford's still question. I still am not on the Stafford trade. It doesn't seem completely healthy. It seems like they're still trying to run it a bunch. But they do, and they have. I'm on the Cincinnati plus 5.5 this week. I think they come out gangsters, this fucking gangster fire. and just start blowing up that offense. So I'm definitely on Goff. Tennessee's secondary is also another secondary that's awful. Goff's the fucking man. Probably the MVP of the league. At least I want him to be that. Him or Blake Bortles. Those are my two MVPs this year. Jared Goff and Blake Bortles.
What are the words that are coming out of your mouth? Is that even English? That shit ain't even real.
I am now. You know what's crazy is like now that I'm like not in the playoffs for like the first time in 9 years, like the Packers, not me, but the Packers. I can actually just pick a team to cheer for.
Right.
I'm cheering for the Rams and I'm cheering for the Jags.
Jeez.
And there's no question in my mind. Like that's immediately who I'm cheering for. Like those are the teams. I am a Blake Bortles supporter and I am a Jared Goff supporter. And I want to see these motherfuckers tear. I want to see them meet the Super Bowl so everybody hates it.
What a world we live in. We got people jerking off into plants. We've got people cheering for Blake Bortles. Never thought I'd see the day. Let me tell you a couple of stats here and see if it sways your opinion.
Nope.
Well, let me try. So Stafford's going against the 9th best pass defense. I get that, but the Bengals have just slowly been getting worse and worse, and they're kind of mailing it in. Stafford's got back-to-back 17-point games despite that finger injury. Where you have Goff, like you said, Tennessee's pass defense isn't that great. They're 25th first to pass. His last 3 games, though, fantasy points and FanDuel, 12, 14, and 16. So it's been the Gurley show recently. It's been the Gurley show. It's been some defense. Goff hasn't been the deciding guy.
You're a Gurley show.
Does that sway you at all?
No. This is, number one, I don't think the Bengals are going to bail it in because I think Marvin Lewis is widely known as a player's coach, and this Cincinnati team is going to come up firing for him these last 2 games. Because it's his last 2 games, I think that's where you're getting it, and that's where you're wrong. I don't think they're going to mail it in for that reason, and I just don't think Stafford is fully healthy.
All right. Well, I like my Cam Newton pick better than both of these guys.
Yeah, I like Cam Newton.
I think I would side though with Stafford.
He's running the ball.
That's the thing you have, and you probably don't have with a guy like Stafford, obviously. But no, I think I would take Stafford over Goff this week. Let's move on to your running back. Who do you have here?
Who do I have? All right, this is where I was talking about earlier with the Cleveland Bears game. Cleveland Bears. Cleveland versus Chicago game. I'm taking Jordan Howard here. Semi-bargain at $7,100. My prediction for Jordan Howard this week, Cleveland can guard against the pass, plus Mr. Trubisky is the quarterback. But Cleveland can, defensively, their defensive backs are pretty goddamn solid. My prediction is that Jordan Howard will be the top scoring running back this week.
Is that your bold prediction for the week?
Well, it could be.
I say you might as well use it now because that's
I didn't write my bold prediction down, but I do have one in my head, so I'm not worried about it. But I do have one, so you can add that onto it if you want. This is basically what this is. This is a college football Big Ten game. This is the Cleveland Browns versus Chicago Bears. It's going to be run, punt, run, pass, run, punt, a bunch. And Jordan Howard's going to have like 160 yards, 1 touchdown, maybe 2. It's going to be like 14-9, and the Bears are going to win.
It's also
you'll cover your spread.
It's also 2 teams that are going to be watching a lot of college football coming up here because they're going to be picking those players real high in the draft.
For sure.
Does that inconsistency of Howard? I mean, what was his price tag? Do you have that on you?
$7,100, I said.
That's a pretty damn good bargain for a guy like Howard, but his inconsistency, price point, yes. That inconsistency scares the shit out of me with him. You just think it's a run game?
What?
You just think it's a run game? Like, just that inconsistency bothers me.
There's going to be a bunch of running. It's going to be, what's funny is it's my 2 running backs I was so bonerific over.
Bonerific.
Howard and Coel.
Oh, yes, that's true. You watch. Yeah. They're going to combine for 7 carries.
Run, punt, run, throw a pass, play action, punt, interception, run, play defense. Fucking Big Ten college football.
Big Ten NFL version.
These 2 teams would be a really good Saturday game.
They should play this one on Saturday.
Yeah, they should. I don't know why anybody else Saturday besides these 2 guys.
Nice. Well, let's talk about the running back that's making his big debut. Or not his debut, but his return.
A little bit there.
Sorry, it's adult onset puberty. You know how it goes.
You little bitch.
And I still have that cough that I've had for 2 weeks. I think I need to get that test. Nice, beer burp. Let's talk about Zeke. He is 8,300 in his return game against Seattle. You just said how much you like Dallas more than Seattle in this game, and you talked about Zeke being the guy. Are you willing to take a chance on him at $8,300 in daily?
Here's the thing. The one thing I heard recently is that after week 1, there's no players in the league that feel quite the same. They never feel 100%. Zeke just got fucking 6 weeks off, and he's coming back, and he's about to be the freshest goddamn good running back in the league, and he's about to go off on this defense.
Another bold prediction.
He's good. That's not bold.
Yeah, it is.
They can't stop the run. That's just not what they do. He is going to be. They're going to be so confused. Like, why is this guy so fresh and fast? Why is he not getting tired? He's going to be sprinting through faster than any other guy in the league, but because he hasn't fucking taken hits for the last 6 weeks, he basically got another off season.
So here's Here's my take on Zeke this week. You talked about Seattle, middle of the pack against the run, 18th. Just got gashed by Todd Gurley. We all saw it. It was terrible.
Yep, it was amazing.
He literally
won. What was that, 3rd and 20?
Yeah, when he scored.
That was my favorite play of the year. I saw a tweet that was like, bold strategy by the Seahawks not touching Todd Gurley on this 3rd and 20.
No kidding. Yeah, they looked terrible against Gurley. Gurley legit took teams to championship matchups this week in fantasy. I agree with you. He's most likely fresh. However, I just saw some workout photos from him being in Cabo.
What, is he fat?
No, he looked fresh. But
oh, good.
But they could have been photoshopped, man, to cover things up. Remember when Johnny Manziel was under all that heat and he decided to tweet that he was taking it easy, so he took a selfie with his dog to fool everybody, and then he ended up partying in Vegas
with a wig on?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. If Zeke's out in Cabo, you think he's only working out? I don't know how fresh he's going to be. He's got a bit of a history.
He's laying the pipe, and he's working out, so he's getting double workouts. You know, Zeke, he's getting double. That core is good right now, the way he's laying that pipe. He's ready to go.
Endurance, baby. He's got all that endurance.
Yeah, he tried to get the pipe. No, she was. And he gave it.
In Cabo.
Yeah.
Well, I have a piece of advice this week that I wanted to share for daily fantasy, and it's go expensive at running back this week. I looked through it, and I didn't really like the bargain options that were available.
I usually go cheaper than 7,100, so yeah, I agree.
Yeah, if you look at the top 7 expensive running backs, they all have really favorable matchups. I think this is a great week to go expensive, get 2 of those top 7 guys, go bargain elsewhere, go expensive at running back. What's your bargain play at receiver?
I've got, okay, so this guy is like my Devontae Adams of last year, where he's continually priced around 6,600, 6,700, 6,900. And I would continually take him, and it would work out more times than not. Tell me how Robert Woods is only $6,600 at Tennessee this week. He just, what he put up, around probably 15 fantasy points
probably.
in FanDuel or DraftKings like that. Scored a touchdown against the Seahawks. I told you to take them. That's a great bargain pick right there, by the way, last week. Taking him again. 6,600 against the fucking Tennessee Titans. He is Devontae Adams of last year. He's like the top wide receiver for Jared Goff. He comes back off of being gone for 3 straight weeks, and he comes out, scores a touchdown, has, I don't know, a decent amount of yards, nothing spectacular, but he comes out and continues to be the top guy that Jared Goff goes to.
I don't want to say there was a lot of hate around Woods last week, but it seemed in Twitter fantasy football circles that no one was high on him. No one. And
I was telling everybody to play him.
Yeah, you were one of the only people I saw that was that were confident using him. Everyone else is like, well, playoffs are on the line. It's his first week back, and it takes some balls to use a guy that hasn't played for a while. And kudos to you and those who did. I understand the hesitation, but
hell of a flex too.
Yeah, he just jumped back in. It's like he didn't miss a single beat.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I watched probably just as many. It feels like I watched Rams and the Jaguars. Those 2 teams as closely as I watched the Packers this year.
Something wrong with you. Well, I said if you go expensive at receiver that you need to go bargain elsewhere. So I think this is the bargain week for receivers. Not saying you have to use 3 bargain receivers, but I have 3 receivers here that I don't mind that I'll bust through quick. You got Juju Smith-Schuster, $7,000 at Houston. Houston, 25th versus the pass. No Antonio Brown. Should see some good targets. You got Juice, Jarvis Landry, $6,800 at the Chiefs. Chiefs are 26th versus the pass. He's like the one consistent dude on offense for the Dolphins. double digits 6 out of the last 7 weeks. I kind of like him this week. And I'm sticking with a Rams receiver, but it's not Woods. I kind of like Cooper Kupp. A little bit cheaper actually, $6,400. He only had 3 points last week, but that was a Todd Gurley game, so I'm not too worried about it. Over 5 catches in 5 of his last 6, averaging around 7 to 8 targets, basically over the second half of the season. I like Kupp or Woods here. They're the most consistent options at receiver. I honestly, still to this day, I love Sammy Watkins. I think he's the most talented of this bunch, but for some reason, he's basically the 4th option in that offense right now, but behind the 2 receivers and Todd Gurley.
2 Jews, 1 cup. You know what I like? Is how you said Juju, and you didn't want to sound anti-Semitic, so you're like, Smith-Schuster, get the run in at the end. I think that was my favorite thing right there. Yeah, that's all I have to say about all those. At first I heard 2 Jews, 1 cup, and then I heard you say Juju, and those things were flowing through my mind. I'm on fire right now.
Wow, that's so aggressive. 2 Jews. What?
Jew is not a bad word to say. They are Jews. They like being called it.
I don't know if they like it.
It depends on how you say it, all right? Like that, that fucking Jew right there, yeah, that's going to come off like, anti-Semitic. But if you're like, yeah, he's, my buddy's a Jew, if I say it like that, it's no big deal. It's just like,
we're going to have to edit this.
The connotation.
If you're hearing this part of the podcast, we forgot to edit.
No, it's all about the connotation.
No, I totally agree.
Not a slandered word. It's the Jewish people use Jew.
It's the Bill Burr theory of using fuck in a sentence and motherfucker and that's a good time. I recommend that one. What do you have at tight end this week?
Oh, I've got a nice tight end here for you guys. I think Ricky Seals-Jones. I'm sick of these goddamn, number one, why are these hyphenated goddamn tight ends like Austin Seferian-Jenkins and Ricky Seals-Jones? There's another guy for the college football who's like something Jones as well, hyphenated. Sick of these hyphenated last names. I just want to get that out of there. Shit's got to go.
Shit's got to go.
Last name.
I like it.
I didn't have one, but I just came up with one. So shit's got to go. Hyphenated last names, you got to go. I can't take it.
Especially for tight ends.
Yeah, really tight end. 5,200 versus the Giants. I mean, the G-men are terrible against tight ends. There's no more than that. That's all I need to say.
That is very true. I really like Greg Olsen. I'm going to probably use him in all my daily fantasy lineups this week. However, if you do need a bargain play, this is a long shot. It's Tyler Kroft. He's been terrible recently.
He dropped a fucking football last week.
Did you see that play where the quarterback was scrambling and he was over by the sideline, like literally like jumping around like a little kid?
Yep.
Like, hey, throw it here. Literally hit him in the
walk for another 10.
Right between the 8 and the 1, and he dropped it.
What a fucker.
Only 5,300 versus Detroit. I talk about it often. Lines are really bad against tight ends. If you look at the Bengals offense, it's A.J. Green, it's Joe Mixon. Those are kind of like the obvious players to game plan against. I really like Greg Olsen. If you need to use a bargain tight end, a touchdown basically makes Kroft a decent play at 5,300, so I wouldn't mind going that way. Any other daily fantasy guys you want to chime in about?
No.
Nice. Well, let's move on to a listener fantasy football sit questions.
This should be a fucking whirlwind. Seeing I haven't looked at them at all.
Well, I'll go first on this first one then, since I'll give you a little bit more information. This is a semifinal, so this is a league that goes through week 17.
Well, this is stupid.
So first, shame on you're a commissioner. Get them to fix that. The question is, need 2 running backs and a flex from these 4, the 4 options.
Well, I don't even know why, Kamara. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, well, the first option is Kamara versus the Falcons.
That's stupid. Stop asking those dumb questions. But, I mean, just throw that guy out and put him in, obviously.
Yeah, okay, well, you could need 1 running back and a flex from these 3 options now.
There we go.
So you have Kamara versus Atlanta. Obviously, we're taking Kamara. So your other options are Samaje Perine versus the Broncos, Carlos Hyde versus the Jags, Joe Mixon versus the Lions. So which 2 of those 3 would you take? So I think I'd be sitting Perine here. He's not even a guarantee to play. So you almost need to sit him just to be on the safe side. You need a guy that's playing, obviously. I'm a little hesitant on Mixon. He's coming off that injury. He's been practicing in full this week, though, so I think he's probably good to go. Could be in for a fine day. Not huge on Hyde either. Don't really think that the 49ers abandon the run versus the Jags, since that's the one part of the defense you might be able to take advantage of. I don't see Jacksonville blowing out the 49ers like they did Houston. I think San Francisco continues to run the ball. I think you have to go Hyde. I think you have to sit Pirine here.
I actually have to agree with you here. I actually really like Hyde as a running back in general, so I think that he can put up yards and points at any time. And that's probably the only area that San Francisco is going to get it going against Jacksonville. Mixon, I mean, Detroit also struggles against the run. I think they're one of the worst teams against the run, actually, in the NFL, if I remember correctly. And I just don't trust the anybody running the ball. Like, they don't have Chris Thompson in Washington. But I don't trust anybody outside Chris Thompson if he's there. Obviously, he's not. He ripped his fucking leg apart. Yeah, I'm not touching Pirine in this matchup. Yeah. I would definitely do Hyde and Mixon as well.
All right, yep. So we're definitely both sitting Pirine. Let's do one more. We got Marquise Goodwin versus the Jags, or Sterling Shepard versus the Cardinals.
It's a no-brainer. You got to take Sterling Shepard here. Number one on receiver, basically, here against Arizona for the Mr. Eli Manning. What did Sterling Shepard go last week?
Oh, yeah,
100 million yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was a number 2 wide receiver when Brandon Marshall was out there. Like, he was the second best wide receiver with Beckham and Marshall and him. I think it was pretty clear.
Right.
So he's the clear number 1 wide receiver. I mean, why would you ever take any wide receiver against the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Yeah, I'm with you. Shepard's my play here. You took the words out of my mouth. I never like a receiver against the Jaguars unless his name rhymes with Beyonde Compkins.
Yeah, and it's the last minute of the game.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going with Shepard basically by default here. I might even prefer like a potential waiver wire guy over Goodwin.
Yeah.
Depending on the depth of your league, though, you might not find anyone better than Sterling Shepard. I like Shepard here. Cardinals defense can play okay every once in a while. Yeah. They're a big wild card, though. You never know.
And I don't understand. Oh, I like that. Is that a pun? Did you do that on purpose? Like wild card?
No, didn't even do that on purpose.
Oh, well, I caught it. Nice. And it's good. It's not like Goodwin has been good. Oh, Jesus Christ. Too many of these things. But it's not like he's been like great or spectacular. He's put up yards in a couple of games. But, I mean, how many touchdowns does he have?
He's got a couple. I know he's got a couple. He's actually had a couple of good games in a row. It's just the fact that they're playing the Jaguars.
It's not like he's like scorched earth here.
Yeah, I'm not trusting anyone against Jacksonville. Not with the way that pass defense is playing. They've been lights out. Bold prediction week 16. Are you going with Jordan Howard leading all fantasy running backs this week, or do you have a different one?
I have a better one. Green Bay Packers make the playoffs. That's my bold prediction for week 16.
Nice. Super
and 17,
bold.
Actually, as well. So.
Nice. Carry it over. My bold prediction is Davis Webb sees some action for the Giants. He's not going to light it up. And the Giants remain one of the key players in the quarterback game this offseason. That's my bold prediction.
Why would they? Okay, that's just a dumb prediction.
No, it's just a prediction.
Giants just benched him. They fired the GM and the coach because of that reason.
No, they benched Geno Smith.
What?
They didn't bench Davis Webb.
No, I'm talking about Eli.
Eli,
sorry,
gotcha.
I didn't specify. They fired fucking those douchebags for that reason. They're not in the playoffs. It doesn't matter. They're going to play Eli Manning these last 2 games and separate ways with him this year. No, he's not getting it. You don't see Davis Webb.
Yep, write it down. You're going to see Davis Webb this week for sure.
Like, you might see him on a camera shot taking a piss on the sideline. Did you see that girl throwing up behind the bench in the NBA basketball game?
No.
No? Are you serious?
What game was that?
Oh, my God. This was like a viral video.
I think she had a viral disease.
I'm going to send this to you. I am sure everybody listening to this has seen it. So there was like, the camera was just panning across the bench. And this big black girl like had her hand over her mouth, kind of like this.
Oh, no.
And she goes, and she vomits. And like fucking just vomits in her hand, and it starts spraying up the side of her hand. And she's throwing up, and then the camera like pans away from her, obviously. But they caught some random like.
No way.
Yeah,
dude.
Just
if you put your hand in that mode, none of our listeners can obviously see what you were doing, but it's like you were almost trying to hold it in. If you're doing that, what's your end goal? Like to catch the throw up back in your mouth? Then what are you gonna do with it?
I don't know. I don't know. She just wanted to spray everywhere, I assume. So it's just like started vomiting in her hand. It was disgusting. I gotta send this to you. I'll send this to you right after this.
Nice. Can't wait. Can we talk for 1 second about? They talked about this on Levitard's show, and I caught a second of it just kind of in passing. About how ridiculous like the firing of Ben McAdoo with the Giants is, because they legit made the playoffs last year. This year they go in and they injure. Everyone gets injured. Everyone gets hurt. The defense wasn't what it was. The defense was all banged up. And literally because of 1 year where injuries happened, you're literally cleaning house. Like, I never thought about it that way. Like, I kind of thought he should be fired too. But it's like, yeah, what was he supposed to do? Who would have led them through that?
There's a few reasons he got fired. Number one, he benched Eli Manning at a time that it didn't matter.
That was unfortunate. Yep, that's one big point.
Number two, he has that stupid fucking haircut.
Most importantly, you should have let off with that.
And number three, he basically, do you remember Ray Rhodes coaching for the Packers?
Yeah, I do.
He chews his gum and makes dumbass faces and does nothing while everything's falling apart.
Yep.
That is what did him in.
I agreed. Firing justified.
Yeah.
Say no more.
Yeah, that was it right there. Those were the reasons.
Nice. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh gosh, do you have anything else you'd like to add today?
I wish I could can we just keep talking?
No, we got to wrap this puppy up.
Can we do the grammar pod?
We'll do the grammar pod later this week.
We'll do it after this.
Well, thank you once again for listening. As always, tweet any questions you have you'd like answered on the podcast. We're on Twitter at LoadedBox. Like and share the Facebook page. The holidays are coming up, so I don't know when we're going to be podcasting next, but hopefully we find some time to recap
Sunday.
The week. Yeah, we'll figure this out. So,
what are you doing Sunday?
Oh, watching football.
Yeah, I have to go to church, but fuck, take me to church. I'll fucking watch football on my day, come back to podcast.
Watching football on Sunday is my church.
Our opener this week is going to be take me to church.
Okay, so you heard it here first. Spoiler alert for next episode.
Sounds good.
All right, let's sign out.
Bye.